Welcome to the Prose Garden, where good writing is always in bloom. I am Francine Witte, your host, and today we have a very special guest host, Andrea Marcusa, who is filling in for Meg Pokrass, who is on assignment, as they say on the news broadcasts. I kind of like saying that. We have a marvelous lineup of readers for you today, so please relax, settle back, and enjoy. I usually like to start with a micro or two just to kind of warm up the air so that no one is that first sacrificial lamb. So, micros. Okay, this is called In Another Language, Your Name Means Murder. But did I listen? No. Not when the old women drew pictures of knives and mimicked throat squeeze. Not when danger music played in the background. Bum. Not even when subtitles, run for your life, zippered across your chest. I looked instead at the cool blue ice of your eyes. I told myself a lot gets lost in translation, and murder probably means something else, a shade of difference. I told myself that murder is relative, and that the dagger you were holding was to carve our name in a tree heart. I told myself that a warning is nothing anyway, but a lost ship on a murky sea, turning and turning, seagulls screaming in the air above, no hope of finding land. And the second piece that I'm going to read, because it's October, and we're all Halloweeny and all that. Maybe not quite yet, but close enough. This is called Mom's Pumpkin Boyfriend. Carved out Jacko on the dresser. Mom first learned to do this last Halloween, scooped the goo out of a pumpkin head when Dad was out on a drunk. Mom's own head, a beehive of regret and wondering how on earth their marriage went so wrong. Mom and Dad must have been young, their faces turned upwards, and then years go by, jobs and then no jobs, Mom twinkling the neighbor's eye, Dad taking his first sip of gin. So tonight, it's one Halloween later, and Mom's pumpkin boyfriend is pretty much all she's got. Not the one from last year, of course, that one dried up months ago. But here's the thing about pumpkins. There's always another one, and also they tend to stay put. Dad is out, and I peek in to tell her that I'm off to trick or treat, even though I'm already too old. I see my mother sitting there, dressed in a negligee she has saved from forever, air spiced with Dad's cologne. On the dresser, her new pumpkin boyfriend, lit up candle, shining out of his eye holes, a shot glass of gin up against his pulpy gash mouth, and Mom just watching, almost like she's waiting to see if he's going to take a sip. Thank you. Okay, let's begin. And I'm going to introduce Andrea Marcusa, who is my wonderful co-host for today. And then she's going to introduce the first four readers after her. Andrea Marcusa's writings have appeared in Milk Candy Review, Citron Review, Moon City Review, Cutbank, and others. She's received recognition in a range of competitions, including Smoke Long, Best Microfiction, and Cleaver, Prime Number, and is the author of the chapbook, What We Live With Now. What we now live with. Sorry about that, from Bottle Cap Press. She is a member of the faculty of the Writers Studio in New York City. Andrea Marcusa.
Thanks, Francine. And it's great being here today. And it's great seeing a bunch of familiar faces like Jen and Karen and Jane and a few others. And Luella and I don't know if I missed anybody, Brett. Anyway, I'm going to just read one. It's halfway between a micro and a flash. It's called Risks. Let's pretend that metal never met stone and you didn't crumble to the ground, and Malcolm never skittered beneath the bed where he stayed for days. Your hair never turned sticky and ruddy red, and there was no need to shake your shoulders, pleading for your eyes to open, because despite the illusion of sleep, they never did. Let's pretend you listened to your physician and had not waved off those tests, calling them the alarmist ravings of medical nerds. Let's pretend this risk you were taking, one in a long, lucky list of them, was undone by a flicker of instinct, some divine whisper, or perhaps my fervent urging. Let's pretend we postponed our flight and learned, even though you were only 47, that your discomfort wasn't simple indigestion. And now, months later, the three of us, not just Malcolm and me, are back in Paris in our favorite room, number 4A. You are sitting on this terrace with Malcolm at your feet, and you're calling him your fat Persian king. You lift your glass, not wine, but sparkling water, and with a touch of irony, you assess the exquisite bouquet, the lively mouthfeel, alternating between curses and thanks to what you now call the magical medical gods. Let's pretend you look out over Paris's blue and gold dusk, then at me, and say, there's no bliss like this. You reach for my hand, and I join you on the rickety balcony table, then gaze out at the ribboning streets, the sidewalks filling with couples, and hold your hand tight. Inside, on your side of the king-size bed, sit the stacks of novels you always bring and never read. Beyond, your shaving kit spills its contents onto the bathroom sink. The tiny closet brims with your clothes. Let's pretend you finish your glass of water and come in from the terrace. We leave Malcolm lazing on our bed, head to the lobby, and feel the whoosh of the door as it opens onto Avenue Kléber. Let's pretend we glow in the lamplight and shimmer in headlights as we walk arm in arm, the only ambulance siren, miles and miles away. Thank you. Okay, next we're going to read Christine Fair, who is very accomplished in her own career, and now she's also writing Flash, or maybe you always have, I don't know. Anyway, Christine is a professor of security studies at Georgetown University. She completed her PhD in South Asian languages and civilization at the University of Chicago. Her creative pieces have appeared in Fictive Dream, The Blood Pudding, Hypertext, Lunch Ticket, and Glassworks, among others, in addition to her scholarly work and literary translations. She causes trouble in multiple languages, Hindi, Urdu, and Punjabi. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you for having me. This is a real pleasure and a delight. The first piece I'm going to read is called Angry Birds. It was published in Fictive Dream some months ago. Holly and Lucy were angry birds trying desperately to escape the confinement of their corroded cages. They were 13 and life was waging a war of attrition on them, so they waged war on life. They had racked up abusers as if they were collecting them. Fathers, uncles, brothers, friends. They were wrathful girls, and their rage grew into vines which clutched them tightly in their strangulating embrace. They read Sylvia Plath as if her writings were a how-to guide to life. Their classmates pitied the occasional fool brash enough to say Lucy and Holly are fat, ugly hillbillies to their faces. They'd set upon them like banshees. They dared anyone to fuck with these enormous chips on their shoulders. Some people, like their own mothers, said they were evil. Holly and Lucy were angry birds trying desperately to escape the confinement of their corroded cages. The railroad track over the creek on the outskirts of Huntertown, Indiana, population 3,860, was their imagined escape from the petting zoo of monsters who immiserated them. They would sit on the concrete platform beneath the tracks, undeterred by the algaic stench of the creek below. Lucy, where do these tracks go? Holly would ask without expecting an answer. Holly, What if we jumped in a boxcar and got the fuck out of here? Lucy would say in response. I don't know, Lucy. Our grandmothers would be devastated if we up and left. Lucy would charily second this caution. Can we trust the other hobos in the boxcar? Maybe they're rapists too. Despite these reservations, they imagined making their mothers hurt like they hurt them, and they reveled in it. Holly and Lucy were angry birds trying desperately to escape the confinement of their corroded cages. One day, Lucy got tired of praying for God to give a fuck, so she hatched the plan. She said to Holly during recess, tonight is the night to jump the boxcar. To hell with the hobos. Meet me under the street lamp near my house at 10 p.m. with your bike. Tonight, we're getting out, Holly. I don't know where, and I don't care. Lucy could taste the freedom in her mouth like a refreshing popsicle. During recess, they decided upon the required things to have in their rucksacks. At 10 p.m., Lucy was there. She waited and waited and waited beneath the street lamp. Polyphemus moths collected and fluttered above her, mesmerized by the light. Eventually, her excitement gave way to feeling cold and even afraid. Holly never came. Lucy thought she was made of stronger stuff than this. When Lucy slunk home in disappointment an hour later with her bike and rucksack in tow, she found her mother waiting for her. She bellowed, God damn it, you little fucker, fetch me my belt. Her hands flew about Lucy like angry birds. The second and last piece is called Melanoma, and it was published in the American Journal of Nursing, which I know is an odd venue, but they publish stuff about illness. The time Mom rebuked us for joking about the funny mark on her neck that looked like a hickey. The time she swore up and down it wasn't actually a hickey. The time she pointed to it weeks later as proof it could not have ever been a hickey. The time she laid out in the sun, having slathered her body with baby oil and burned to a crisp. The time when the strange mark began to thicken and take shape. The time she laid out in the sun, having slathered her body with baby oil and burnt to a crisp. The time her husband called her a hypochondriac to discourage her from medical care, and the time she laid out in the sun, having slathered her body with baby oil and burned to a crisp. The time her husband again insisted she was a hypochondriac, and the mark was just a birthmark and nothing more. The time she called me to tell me about the growing mark. The time I insisted she go to the doctor. The time I demanded she go to the doctor and offered to pay. And still yet the time she laid out in the sun, having slathered her body with baby oil and burned to a crisp. The time she finally went to the doctor, he told her it was advanced stage 2 melanoma. The time she went to Duke University for an experimental treatment that was a precursor to T-cell therapy. The time she spent with her young son before the cancer returned. The time I was brushing her hair and noticed her coarse hair had changed, softened, and asked about her cancer. The time she insisted her blood work was clean. The time we learned her cancer returned despite her clean blood work. The time I watched the cancer spread across her body and her brain. The time her eyes lost focus and she began to suffer motion sickness. The time she went back to Duke. The time the unethical doctor debulked her because he wanted cells for her study because she was patient 0. The time he impugned my questioning his judgment by asking, are you studying to be a nurse? The time she became a nullity after the aggressive surgery. The time she lay on her deathbed insisting to her husband that he not lay her to rest in a light-colored coffin. The time she passed away quickly because the nurse put her on the wrong oxygen. The time we went to buy her a coffin and her husband bought a light blue coffin because it was on sale. The time her body slipped into the moist ground redolent of petrochlor. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. And also go ahead and talk in the chat if you like, and let everybody know how you're liking their pieces. Okay, our next reader is Court Harler. She is they are a queer writer, editor, and educator based in the American South. She holds an MA and an MFA. She's owner of Harler Literary LLC and founding editor of Flash the Court Literary Magazine. Her award-winning multi-genre work has been published around the world. Find her on Instagram at Courtney Harler. Welcome, Courtney.
Hi, thank you. Thanks to Andrea, Francine, and Meg who first invited me. I have two pieces for you today, and the first is a prose poem. It was published in the Mercy Review over the summer, and it's called Medieval Middle of the Night Sex, or Oh, Insomnia, You Fickle Medieval Gentle Lady. Some scholars believe that adult humans weren't meant to sleep through the night, no matter how many generations of parents and grandparents demanded to sleep train their wee spawn. Instead, we're meant to lie down with the setting sun, sleep a few blissful hours, then wake for our most productive hours. You can work knowing more dreams await before the actual new day begins. For instance, when middle of the night wakeful, you might read a book by flickering candlelight, write a letter to your aunt in Bury St. Edmunds, have sinful sex in the dark of the dark. Except it wouldn't be so sinful, would it? You and I, we have a duty to procreate. Why not do it when we're freshly but not fully rested? Maybe then even I would fall asleep afterward and not just you. Maybe then I could slumber actually sated, knowing I had more rest in store for me. More rest, more morning, more new day that began at sunrise and ended gracefully at sunset. One more day to make beer and bread and milk cows and cluck at hen chickens and go to market. More sunsets and sweetest sleep, undelayed by late night television and one more load of laundry. Okay, and the second piece is a flash fiction published in Ghost Parachute just this week. It is called Late Summer, August. When Sam entered the restaurant, Julie's keen eyes flashed, then just as swiftly dulled. She firmed her lips and turned back toward me. When did you say you'd go to Paris? Her pale cheeks flushed a brazen pink, and I almost felt sorry for her. I pressed my bare calf against hers where they dangled off our bar stools, took a slow sip of my very dirty vodka martini before I answered her. Late summer, August. And Jeff? No, he'll stay home with the cats, unless you want to pet sit. Julie mimed sneezing and then laughed. Generally, I endeavored to give her reason to laugh, but just now, I knew she was laughing for Sam's benefit, not mine. I scanned the dining room from the bar to catch Sam's eye. He'd just been seated at a table for two, but without a dinner companion. When I waved him over, Julie tensed beside me. Had she told him we'd be here? Well, Sam said. Well, I repeated. I moved over one bar stool, and Sam, without hesitation, took the seat between us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Court. And now our next reader is Jen Dalvia, and she's the 2023-2025 Truman Capote Scholar of Fiction at the University of Montana. Her stories have appeared in the Missouri Review, Chautauqua, the Harvard Advocate, and other journals. Her fiction has been nominated for 2 Pushcart Prizes and 2 AWP Intro Journal projects. She is currently working on a novel.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you, Francine, for having me. It's wonderful to be here reading with you guys. I'm going to read one piece. This piece is about Penelope from the Odyssey. It's called The Prize. Penelope didn't know there was one she preferred until the contest. It all happened quickly and slowly. 10 years passed waiting for the war to end, for Odysseus to return. Another 10 went by with Penelope in a jar, salt water, pickles, glowing in her loneliness. And there were so many suitors, but they all seemed the same to her. The ones who had charm were like waves that crested and receded as they were replaced by others with charm, and the years went by. They proposed and proposed, but none of it felt real. Her long-lost husband didn't feel real anymore, and neither did these men who flirted with her constantly. It felt like a God-sent dream filled with transformations and strange stipulations, or like a ball on a roulette wheel, bouncing and bouncing, a wheel that would never stop. This was her life now, and the jokes and flattery of 104 men filled the lonely hall with voices and drunken laughter. She wearied of this, and the axes were set up. Penelope brought the bow herself. The whole thing felt like a show, a dangerous show perhaps, like fire juggling, but theatrical, a contained performance that would finish, with Penelope going back to her bedroom unchanged. It didn't feel like any of this could touch her life or her heart. Not until the weapon was laid out and the men's talk was done. Not until Leodes, the gentle son of Enops, stepped forward. When the young man picked up the bow, Penelope saw it all in an instant. A future with him marked by respect and kindness, a life with that sleepy soul to explore slowly and with pleasure for all the years to come. She felt a soft part of herself wake up in response to this kind spirit. But the young man didn't give the stringing of the bow much effort at all. He held the weapon loosely, moving it about in his hands, pretending to exert himself, grunting falsely, just as her son Telemachus used to do as a little child when he showed off his tiny muscles for her. Leodes panted from his last fake effort, and Penelope looked down at the paving tiles. He was a one. Maybe not the one, but a good one who she might have been able even to love. But he didn't want her, and the bow was passed around and around until the cleverest and harshest man won her. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, and now let's see, we're going to Katherine Plumhoff. And she writes short stories, and you can find her work on X-Ray, The Forge, Passages North, Gone Lawn, Best Small Fictions, and she's been nominated for Best of the Net and Pushcart prizes, and her nonfiction in Off Assignment and Litero magazine. She's an emerging fellow at Smoke Lawn Quarterly, and she lives in Spain. Welcome, Katherine.
Hi, and thank you, Andrea and Francine, for having us. It's such a pleasure to listen to the stories and to get to read my own. I was between two stories, and I like to respond to the vibes of what's been said before. So I'm going to go in the lighter direction in the hopes that that keeps us all nice and balanced, about a first date gone very wrong, based on something that happened to a dear friend of mine. So we can gossip about it after the reading. And I'll share the link. It's been published in Mr. Bilbo, so I'll share the link after I've read. It's called Viewer Discretion Advised. Lucas will forget the date after he tells the story once to Mark, whose teasing brought the whole situation together in the same way that wet, warm, upwards pushing air creates a storm. Amy will remember it every time she eats outside of her house. So, do you want to go to Korean barbecue with me sometime? Lucas had asked. He hadn't made eye contact. Or rather, he hadn't made eye contact with her. He stared at the crucifix hung on the wall behind the lecterns with fists tugging down the pockets of his cargo shorts like ballast. To Amy, it seemed like he was waiting for Jesus, whose head was tilted away from his slender white body, ribs sharp and stigmata dripping, to answer. She imagined they could talk in their heads, Jesus and Lucas, the only two white boys at Korean Presbyterian Church of Metro Detroit, both their faces beautiful. Lucas wasn't talking to Jesus. He was thinking about the words a straight boy would use to describe Amy's boobs that he could later use with Mark. Melons? Knockers? A sack and a half of tits? Yeah, sure, Amy answered, grinning. She picked up her binder of hymns. Mrs. Park, Mark's mom and the choir director, was having them rehearse On Eagle's Wings. They were prepping for the funeral of a senior who'd been killed in a car crash driving back from visiting a Bible college. His co-pilot, who'd climbed out of the burning car with a broken clavicle, was doing the solo. The soloist sling kept her in a perpetual hand-on-heart pose that even to Amy, whose agnosticism was growing in line with her cup size, gave her devotion real depth, especially when she sang, "And hold you in the palm of his hand." While Amy was helping out her mother with Kim's Superfoods weekly restock before choir practice, stacking sugar plums on styrofoam trays and shrouding them in plastic wrap, small and firm and $2.49 a pound, each a slightly different color, dark red, powdery blue, purple, black. Lucas was watching videos of school shootings with Mark. "Can you imagine the look on Mr. Jones's face if I walked into pre-algebra with a piece like that?" asked Mark, clicking past another graphic content warning to a video detailing how a high schooler in Houston had 3D printed a gun. "You wouldn't actually do it though, would you?" "Why not? I'm not a pussy like you," said Mark. "If that fat fuck suspends me again, I'd definitely go shoot up his class." "I'm not a pussy." "Of fucking course you are. You're probably a fag too. My mom says you have a voice like a girl." "If I was a fag, would I be asking Amy Kim out today?" said Lucas loudly over the recorded gunshots. "Yeah? She's hot. Good luck, fag." Lucas drove Amy to Dayback Korean barbecue in his dad's 2013 Ford Fiesta after the funeral ended and as the dinner rush was starting. Later, he won't remember the server ushering them to the table or explaining how to cook the red folds of marbled meat. He won't remember walking to the bathroom. He will remember coming out of the bathroom and seeing 4 tables that each had a long-haired Asian girl in a crew neck sweater, and scanning their chests to see if he could recognize the outline of Amy's boobs, and feeling good that he had spent time earlier memorizing their shape because God was it coming in handy now. He will remember sitting down across from the one who looked like she'd stuffed 2 baby skulls down her front. "Did you order drinks? I trust you," he said. "Maybe they have those sodas with the marbles in them. My sister collects them." Amy didn't respond. Lucas wondered if those sodas were even Korean, or if he'd gotten another thing wrong, like when he mispronounced "did Jack" in front of all of the Korean kids playing the game after Sunday school, and his dad, back when he was the one who brought Lucas to church, taught him how to say it. His dad had learned it when he was stationed in Camp Humphreys, 60 miles from the demilitarized zone, which he'd never told Lucas about, but Lucas had read about when he Googled his dad's name after he died. "Amy?" he said as the girl in front of him took out her phone and started to swipe. "Wrong table," said the girl, looking up briefly. "I'm not Amy." Amy watched Lucas sit down in front of a girl who wasn't her. She heard him call the girl her name. She stood up and walked out of the front door of the restaurant and down Telegraph Road into Myers, where she texted her mom to come pick her up, and walked through the produce section while she waited. She looped through aisles of conventionally grown late summer fruit. She looked at the peaches and the plums and the nectarines. She turned them over gently, rolling them in their plastic beds. She looked and she looked, but she couldn't find 2 that were exactly the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. And thank you first for readers. Now I'm going to turn this over to Francine. And Francine, take it away.
Thank you so much, Andrea. I'm not even going to tell Meg how good you did because she'll feel bad. So you did a great job. Thank you so much for filling in. Okay, so I want to, those are great readings, everyone. So you see, we have more to come, but everyone was terrific. I want to do what I call the Ed Sullivan thing, where I thank the people who are in the Zoom room, because I think it's nice to be, seen. Like, you came here, you got all in your best clothes for the Zoom, Okay, so welcome Aura Lund, Jennifer Maloney, Jane Myers, Bill Merkley, Mary Grimm, Karen is that Logel, Jackie Doyle, Luella Lester, Antonio Sekulis, Eddie Velasquez, Jeff Kelly, Matthew Bowen, Maleva Anastasia Tia A, and my beautiful aunt, who's going to be Aunt Miriam Mandel. She's going to be 101 in January. Okay, so yeah. So welcome. And we'll get started now. So thank you all for being here because, you know, it's kind of a nice Saturday afternoon or evening. You could be elsewhere. And we appreciate very much that you came to the Prose Garden. All right, now we can continue. Next, our reader is Brett Pribble. Brett's work has appeared in Aquifer, the Florida Review Online, Decomp, Stirring, a literary collection, Saw Palm, the Molotov Cocktail, 5 on the 5th, Maudlin House, Bending Genres, Bright Flash, Literary Review, and other places. He is the founder and editor-in-chief of Ghost Parachute, the aforementioned Ghost Parachute, which has this absolutely killer issue online. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. Follow him on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, at Brett Pribble. Brett Pribble.
Thank you. Thank you, Francine. Hi there, everybody. So I'm just going to be reading one piece. It's about 700 words. It's called Double Coated Boy. The blizzard crept behind them like a floating corpse. As Marcus piled together twigs and leaves, his boy played in the snow. No foxes fed, no rabbits ran. Just silence swallowing the sun. Darkness rose from the earth, and a ruddy hue covered the boy's chapped face. The woods swelled blacker and blacker until its trees melted into night. The wind transformed from chill to piercing, alerting Marcus. He frowned at the encroaching tempest. You remember the way home? He asked. Yes, we did it already, said the boy. I know, but you can make it there on your own? Yes, said the boy. You taught me. Marcus ruffled the boy's hair. It was wet from droplets of snow. As the flakes fell thicker and damper, Marcus caught them on his hand and touched his tongue. The cold was gentle in his mouth as a deep freeze surrounded them. He tossed more sticks on the fire, but its heat was just a rumor. Curls of smoke drifted on them, and the boy inhaled it, making him cough. Are there any wolves out here? Asked the boy. They are with their families, hunting, surviving, said Marcus. Will they eat us? Said the boy. No, it's very rare for wolves to attack humans. What if they're hungry? Marcus tossed a branch on the fire. We all do what we have to. He laid out 2 loaves of bread and opened a can of black beans. Here, put this loaf in your jacket. You'll need it tomorrow. But then you won't get any bread. I'll be all right. I'm bigger. Got more fat in my belly. He patted his stomach. Why didn't you bring more? Marcus reached to the sky and caught more ice, which was dropping harder. I thought we had more time. The boy sprung up and plopped himself down in the snow. Let's make snow angels. Lying on his back, he placed his hands at his sides and stretched them up over his head. Come make one with me, he shouted. He waved his arms up and down in the snow. After leaning near the fire once more, Marcus slumped down next to him. Remind an old man how to do this? The boy waved his arms up and down. Like this, father. They both made angels and laughed under the half moon. Black trees whispered secrets just beyond them. As they tired, Marcus held his boy's hand, but hard snowfall broke their serenity. Marcus pulled the boy to his feet and rushed him to cover. They sat beneath shrubs. A sharp wind cut at their faces, extinguished the fire. There was only dark. Marcus took off his coat and put it on the boy. I already have a coat. I know, said Marcus. You need another one, though. The blizzard is coming down on us. Don't you need it? No. Marcus patted his stomach. I have the extra fat, remember? What about the storm? Don't worry about that. Just get sleep now. It'll be better in the morning. Marcus held the double-coated boy in his arms beneath the shrubs. The boy soon fell asleep. When strands of sun woke the boy, the blizzard had passed. Much of the snow had melted, the forest taking calm breaths. The boy jumped to his feet. I'm glad that's over. His father remained sleeping. The boy shook him. Wake up, we need to go. He shook Marcus again, but he didn't wake. His skin was blue and clammy. When the boy understood, he shook harder than he had from the previous night's cold. He buried his face in his father's chest. After bawling over the body, he stood. He thought of what his father said about remembering the way home. The indentations in the snow where they had waved their arms and legs faded into the crisp, white floor. Puncture wounds where angels had flown. The boy slipped off the big coat and placed it over his father's body. Then he took off his little coat and placed it over the bigger one. After tucking the edges beneath his father, he trudged toward home.
Thank you so much, Brett Pribble. And don't forget to check out Ghost Parachute. The newest issue is just magnificent. Brett Pribble, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. Next, well, I met the next reader at a Kathy Fish retreat back in 2019. And it's very nice to see him again. He's he edits Funicular magazine. He's a writer from Edmonton, Canada. He writes short stories and edits Funicular, and his name is Jason Lee Norman. So Jason Lee Norman, welcome and take it away.
Thank you so much, Francine. Yeah, it's good to see you. Francine's the coolest. That was fun in Colorado back before all the stuff in 2020 and beyond. Let's do let's stay with spooky season, and this story was published in HAD or HAD. I don't know what people call it, but it was my first skull, which is also Halloween themed. So it's like, let's do that. It's called Ghosts Tell Human Stories. Ghosts tell human stories. They like to gather from time to time and tell each other about humans they heard might be in the area. The presence of humans to a ghost signifies a large amount of noise in the universe. The inability to hear subtle sounds like a seed pushing its way through the earth, or what it really sounds like when two clouds rub together, or two clouds rub against each other in the sky. If humans are around, it's going to be impossible for a ghost to concentrate on anything. When ghosts tell human stories, they often tell stories about how a human became a human. These stories all have a strong resemblance to each other. If ghosts are ever by a hospital or an elevator or a taxi cab and they feel the air around them get warmer suddenly, they know that's where a human became a human. A common misconception is that ghosts look like the spirits of humans who have died. Ghosts actually look like every Halloween costume or child's drawing of a ghost that you have ever seen. A common misconception about humans is that they are tough. If humans were so tough, they wouldn't be so scared of the things that ghosts do, like knock the odd book off a shelf or flicker the lights during a spooky storm, or cast a spectral projection down a hallway or bedroom ceiling from time to time. A ghost's main purpose is to scare humans, and humans make it easy for ghosts. A ghost's job is to remind humans that they have to share this universe with ghosts and whatever other creatures are out there. They remind them that one day they will die, so they better finish all their human business while they can. Being scared occasionally keeps them human longer. Since humans are so loud and so easy to scare, ghosts like to spend most of their time away from humans and even away from other ghosts. Ghosts are always amazed at how many humans there are. A ghost would never readily admit this, but they are envious at how often humans are touching each other. Holding anything for more than a few brief seconds is very impressive to a ghost. There are always times when ghosts like to get together to talk about humans and the interesting things they have done, like build really tall buildings or jump over the Snake River Canyon with a rocket-powered motorcycle. Nobody has ever accomplished as much in this universe as humans. Even though ghosts try to stay far away from humans most of the time, they still understand that there is a part of the world that they will always share with humans. Not a day goes by that a ghost doesn't swear that he just heard a human drive by in their car, or maybe there's one on the other side of the wall watching TV, and they always believe them. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you, Jason. That was wonderful. And Jason, I just want to tell you that, and tell everybody that Jason has one of like my all-time favorite stories. What is it? Beautiful Girls, I believe.
Oh yeah,
I
beautiful
just,
girls.
oh my God, I
Thank
just
you.
love that story. And maybe if you want to put it, I don't know if you can have the link to the chat or someone, I think Catherine earlier said maybe the readers could put the links in the chat to the stories they've read. If you can't do that, if you don't have the, not everybody, I know I wouldn't be able to do it like, thoughtfully, but I'm going to post this later. And then in the comments, you can feel free to post any links to any stories that you want. Okay. And I would love it, Jason, if you could post that link there, because I want everybody to read that. Okay. Thank you very much, Jason Lee Norman. Next up is Jose Hernandez Diaz. He is a 2017 NEA Poetry Fellow. He is the author of several collections, including Bad Mexican, Bad American, and Portrait of the Artist as a Brown Man. He has taught creative writing at the University of California, Riverside, and at the University of Tennessee, where he was a visiting writer in residence. And also, Jose does this is not in his bio. I'm just like going off script here. He runs these wonderful poetry workshops online. So, Jose, feel free after you read to put that link in the chat, how we can find out more about them, because I highly recommend them. Wonderful person to work with, very generous and smart. So take it away, Jose Hernandez Diaz.
Yeah, thank you, Francine. It's good to be here. It was great to hear everyone read so far. I'm more of a prose poet, so I'm going to read a couple prose poems. The first one here is called The Parachutist, and I have a book of the same name, The Parachutist, which is a poetry and prose poetry. And this was published in The Nation as well. The Parachutist. I was smoking a cigarette in the backyard after a long day at work when a man in a parachute fell from the sky right into the lilac bushes. I tossed the cigarette and ran up to him. "Are you okay?" I said. "I'm fine, just happy to get away from the enemy," he said. "The enemy? What enemy?" I said. "The enemy otherwise known as the mundane," he said. "That's peculiar," I said. "Be that as it may, the mundane has waged merciless war on me and millions of my fellow Americans for years," he said. "Would you like some water or lemonade? You've been through a lot," I said. "No, but do you happen to have a helicopter? I'd like to make another jump," he said. "Another random jump to nowhere? What good will that do?" I said. "It will do a lot of good. So much good that I will no longer feel absolute pain," he said. "Surely there are other ways to deal with pain," I said. "Do you have some whiskey and cola?" the man said. "I've got a bottle or two," I said. "New plan," he said. "We drink the whiskey and cola and play darts on that maple tree." "Great idea," I said, rushing for the drinks. I was beginning to understand his war against the mundane. And I have one more prose poem, a shorter one, and it was published in Only Poems, which is a online literary magazine, and it's also the title of a manuscript that I just finished up, and it's called New Year's Eve at the Museum of Somber Paintings. A man in a Kafka for President shirt transformed into a banana peel at the Museum of Somber Paintings because it was New Year's Eve. Fireworks blared in the blurred background. Everyone started slipping on the banana peel. They slid around the Museum of Somber Paintings like ice skating Olympians in February. One man slid into a salient painting by Jean-Michel Basquiat. The painting was titled Untitled, 1984. Luckily, a security guard managed to save the painting from doomed damage. Everyone clapped for the fast-acting security guard. He took a gentlemanly bow. The man in a Kafka for President shirt, aka the banana peel, reemerged in human form at midnight at the Museum of Somber Paintings and joined in the animated praise of the noble security guard. When the Museum of Somber Paintings eventually closed at 3 a.m., all the paintings fell asleep. except for some iconic insomniac portraits by Francis Bacon. Thank you.
Oh, that was wonderful, Jose. Um, I love prose poetry. I love how close it is, really. Like, I think it's so close to flash fiction, to micros, especially. In fact, many people are often like, "What's the difference?" You know, but you know, that's a whole big discussion, right? But those are just beautiful, Jose, and
Thank you.
much luck with your with placing your manuscript. I know it'll be great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jose Hernandez Diaz. And Jose was our penultimate reader. I like to use the word penultimate because you don't get to use it that often. It only means one thing, right? So next to last, right? You all know that. So for our ultimate reader, our final reader of the evening, is someone that I met at KGB at a reading several years ago. And what struck me was like it was a reading for the release of the flash fiction Norton anthology, and we were both readers in it. And she had been in the launch in San Francisco, like I don't know how many hours before, and then just flew to New York to be at the launch in New York City, which is just wonderful. I just couldn't believe that she did that. Anyway, this is Thaisa Frank. Thaisa Frank's sixth book of fiction, Enchantment Counterpoint 2012, was selected as one of the best books by the San Francisco Chronicle. Her novel, Heidegger's Glasses, Counterpoint 2011, received a star review in the Publishers Weekly and has been translated into 10 languages. Her flash fiction has appeared in numerous publications and anthologies. Her co-authored book, Finding Your Writer's Voice, St. Martin's Press, has been translated into 2 languages. She is a 2023 Pushcart Fellow and a member of the San Francisco Writers Grotto. Thaisa Frank. Oops, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Thaisa Frank.
Thank you, Francine. I remember meeting you. And I also remember the long plane ride, but it was worth it. Okay, so I'm going to read I'm going to read 2 pieces. I won't try to describe them. This is called Perpetual Emotion. Her job is dressing windows in a store that sells soap. The display has a statue of close-wool sheep because the soap is made from sheep's milk from Devon, England. The sheep look like real sheep, and she's relieved when she touches the fiberglass fur. The owner explains that she must never finish dressing the window because he wants people to watch her and be drawn into the store. She is right for the job, he says, looking at her sweater. Not too little and not too much. He's a short man who interviews her while eating Chinese takeout noodles dripping from chopsticks like a mustache. He brings her to the window and shows her a large wooden spice cabinet with a plethora of little drawers. He explains she must put things in and out all day. He says she must like perpetual motion. She has taken the job to wrangle her way out of a career counseling that her divorcing husband wants her to have in case it discovers a hidden talent for getting rich and he won't have to contribute to child support. In real life, she's a potter and makes most of her money around the holidays. Don't you want to learn more about yourself? Her lawyer asked. She said she already knew more about herself than she ever wanted to know. She would rather take things in and out of drawers, pincushions, scraps of velvet, pop-up boxes that say, I love you. Whatever the owner gives her, she will put in and take out. A homeless man on the mall who sits on the fake cobblestones all day, bows when she leaves at night. The soap is scattered on straw, small white pillows that look like packages that contain themselves, bursting with the fragrance of lilacs. Sometimes she brings a few to her teenage daughters who, since the breakup, rummage for what might make them happy. Neon hair dyes, food fads, errant boyfriends. The soap makes them happy. She likes the perpetual motion of taking out and putting back. It makes her feel like she's part of the sea, the way waves have a relentless rhythm. She learns the secret of each wooden drawer, places that stick, angles that make them easier to open or close. She rifles through the night table on what used to be her husband's side of the bed. And she finds, sorry, let me start. She rifles through the night table on what used to be her husband's side of the bed and adds to the drawer foreign coins, rusted old receipts, rubber bands. Over time, the drawers contain parts of his life, intimate parts that don't reveal much. You know he's been to Mexico, bought a toothbrush at Target. You know he clips his nails and had a martini at the Olive Garden. These reminders are a pleasant part of her day, and they neutralize the unhappy times when the two of them meet with lawyers. One day there are pickets outside the window. It turns out the soap doesn't come from England, but from a factory in India that hires children. She can't continue perpetual motion, but must sit by the sheep and raise her fist in solidarity. There's a familiar face in the crowd. It's the face of her husband 20 years ago. Of course, it isn't her husband, just someone who looks like him and smiles the way he once did. There is a breeze playing with his hair, and this makes him seem like he's part of the weather. He is holding a sign that says, "Never forget the children." When the crowd empties, she gathers everything in a paper bag, scoops up the soap, and goes to the back of the store where the owner is drinking scotch. He says that the protesters get their dues from a rival spice company, and he's going to start a price war. She tells him she's quitting, and she leaves by a back alley where the ground is covered with fresh snow and the sky has stars like ice flowers. It's so quiet, she can hear her husband's keys rattling inside the paper bag, a gentle rattling sound she once heard outside their door on nights when he couldn't wait to come home. She imagines that he will be home when she gets there, the current version of himself, not the face in the crowd. But it's just her daughters who open the windows to get rid of the smell of pot and banish their current boyfriends to the basement. They open the bag and scoop up soap after soap after soap. It is fragrant with Indian lilacs. She does not tell them it was made by children. And I will read one last short piece that I actually read at KGB that day. The New Thieves. One night my husband said, "You must learn to be like the new thieves. They never steal, they add. They enter rooms without force and leave hairpins, envelopes, roses. Later they leave larger things like pianos. No one ever notices. You must be like the woman in the bar who dropped her glove so softly I put it on, or that man who offered his wife so carefully I thought we'd been married for 17 years. You must fill me with riches, so quietly I'll never notice." The next day I brought home a woman in camouflage. She looked just like me and talked just like me, and that night while I pretended to sleep, she made love to my lover. I thought I'd accomplished my mission. But as soon as she left, he said, "I knew she wasn't you. I knew by the way she kissed." I tried new things, but nothing eluded him. Shoes like his old ones, scuffed in the same places. Keepsakes from his mother. Books he'd already read. He recognized everything and threw it away. One rainy afternoon, when I couldn't think of anything else to give him, I went to an elegant bar, the kind with leather chairs and soft lights. I ordered chilled white wine, and suddenly, without guile, the bartender smiled at me. That night, while my husband slept next to us, we made love, and the next morning, the bartender hung up his clothes in my lover's closet. Soon he moved in, walking like a cat, filling the house with books. My lover never noticed, and now at night he lies next to us, thinking that he's the bartender. He breathes the air, he dreams his dreams, and in the morning when we all wake up, he tells me that he's happy.
Thank you, Thaisa. That was a wonderful, wonderful story. Thaisa Frank, thank you for being here with us today. And I'm not even gonna lie, this was a great reading. If I, I'm just allowed to say that, I guess, just because I'm listening too. So I wanted to thank our readers: C. Christine Fair, Court Harler, Jen Dalvia, Katherine Plumhoff, Brett Pribble, Jason Lee Norman, Jose Hernandez Diaz, and Thaisa Frank, and my lovely co-host, our guest co-host for today, Andrea Marcusa, who just knocked it out of the park. Andrea, did you want to say something in closing, or you're on mute?
Thank you, everybody, for being here. And it's great to see some familiar faces. And please keep your eyes open for the next Prose Garden. We have them when? How often? Like once a month or every 2 months?
Actually, we've gone to every other month. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always a whole new collection of people. And usually it's people from all over the world, right?
Right. It's
So-
unusual that both of the hosts, like Andrea and I both happen to live on the Upper East Side in New York City. We're like a mile apart from each other. Not always the case, but that was wonderful. And thank you so much, Andrea. You were absolutely wonderful. And so the recording will go up sometime later this afternoon. I encourage you to share it as much as you want to. And again, you can put your links to anything that you wanted to in the comments once I post it. And everyone, just have a great afternoon, great evening, and drive safely. Thank you from the Prose Garden. Thank you. I'm Francine Witte. Thank you. Oops.